Galaga, the arcade classic. This is an NES port of the great arcade game. This is one of my all-time favorite arcade games. It is actually my favorite classic arcade game, even above Donkey Kong, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Asteroids, you name it. This is number one. Now, this port is okay. It's not the worst port in the world. I've played way worse. And it has its ups and its downs, and I'll get into that later. But a little bit about Galaga. So, I did own a Galaga arcade machine a few years ago, and I played that sucker every single day after work for hours and hours and hours. I loved it. I loved it. I always wanted to know an actual arcade machine in my house. Got it and just enjoyed it. Sold it a few years ago when I bought my house, and I kind of regret it, but it's okay. I have my bar top now that has this on there. Now, another thing, whenever I owned Galaga on the arcade stand-up machine, Stevie would come over to my house all the time and try to challenge me to beat my high score. And he'd go back and forth, back and forth. Stevie's not a bad arcade player when it comes to Galaga. And the last time I checked, he had the high score. Good for him. But anyway, I digress. So, is this a good port? It's not bad. The graphics aren't as good as the arcade. The sound is just about right, in my opinion. The shooting effect, the bees, everything, it's about right. The little jingles you hear throughout the game, it's okay. Now, to me, this is a little bit slower than the arcade version, and that's okay. It makes it just a tad easier, and that's all right. That's all right. This is a decent port, and at the time, I had the Atari 2600 port. That was about it, unless you wanted to go the PC route. So, does this belong on the NES Classic Edition? Absolutely. 100%. I love Galaga, and any chance I can play Galaga, the better. And this is a great game just to sit and chill out and play for 20, 30 minutes and turn it off and go about your business. So it is a great inclusion. I love it. It's not going to be one of your long play games like Super Mario Brothers or Zelda or Final Fantasy. And that's all right. There's good variety, and this is an arcade classic. And if you don't own an arcade machine or have a bar top or anything, this is a good option. Did I play this game as a kid? I played Galaga as a kid in the arcade, and I loved it. I loved Galaga, but I'd never played this port. I never played this port until I was an adult. I did not own the cartridge till I was out of college when I started collecting again, and actually tracking down a few other Galaga cartridges and collections too. So I do have a little bit of a history with Galaga, but not this particular port. And it does belong on the NES Classic Edition. Now, you can track down Galaga pretty much anywhere these days. You can go on to the PlayStation Network. I'm sure it's on the Xbox Live. I'm sure you can find this in any classic collection on the PlayStation 2, PS1, Xbox, you name it. There's even an Xbox 360 collection out there where you can play this. So go play some Galaga. Now, I do love the revamped versions of Galaga that came out a few years ago on the PlayStation 3 and actually on the 3DS. Those are some really good versions of this game too. A lot faster paced if you're not into the old school arcade scene, and it'd be worth your while to track down those games too. So, again, guys, this a great inclusion. Let me know what you think. There are a few other arcade games that are included arcade ports, excuse me, that are included on the NES Classic Edition. Some are better than others. In my opinion, this is one of the top ones that they put on the system on the NES. And what are your thoughts on Galaga? Do you like Galaga? Did you play it back in the day? Did you play it as a kid in the arcades? How far have you gotten? The furthest I've ever gotten was like level 24. And that was like a miracle that I was able to do that. I do watch the world records of this. And those guys are nuts. Those guys are crazy good. I will never ever be that good. Now, I'd be remiss to tell you guys that there is a little cheat on level 1 where you basically leave the last 2 bees on the left-hand side alone. And you kill everything else. And you let the screen go for like 10 minutes. And let those bees just fly past you. And then when they stop shooting, you kill them. And then nothing will fire at you again for the rest of the game. Now, I do not know if that's in this NES port or if it's in any other ports, but I know it's in the original arcade machine game, okay? So, there's a little tip for you all. Guys, you need to go play some Galaga if you have not played Galaga. Where have you been? Galaga is so much fun. Let me know down in the comments, does this belong on the NES Classic Edition? Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day.